Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Tuesdays. So today we have the Aroma Twister Flanger. Now this comes under the Aroma and Tomsline brand. It is based on the famous Electro Harmonix Mistress and is similar to the Moore Elect Lady, and I think it might be the exact same circuit as the Donna Flanger. I forget the exact model name, but yeah, basically it's a mini pedal based on the Electric Mistress, one of the most famous flangers. So I've got it here. Let's unbox it, show you what's in the box, plug it in, and I'll show you what it sounds like. So it comes in this kind of nice white box you can see here. Like most of these things, they're coming in better boxes now, most of these Chinese pedals, I have to admit. Originally they'd come in quite, crappy things. Now solid cardboard box, which is kind of nice. Now this has a manual, as you can see. Very simple manual. Only one page on the back, as you can see in here. So it is basically says thanks for looking at this flanger, and has all the controls: your mode switch, color knob, range knob, and speed knob. Obviously switch, 9-volt adapter, all the usual things you'd expect from these kind of mini pedals. So it comes in this foam like all the Tomsline Aroma pedals do, and this is the pedal here. And like most of these pedals, it is in this solid kind of, I think it's aluminium, but it's fairly weighty, fairly solid quality material is what it's constructed from. A lot better than, say, the Behringer and all those plastic things you have seen before for clones. And this clocks in at $43 Australian, so it is very, very cheap. Yeah, solid, true bypass, solid switches and stuff. So I'm going to plug it in, and we're going to have a listen. Okay, so the Aroma Flanger here, it has color, freeze, a normal switch, a range control, and a speed knob. Now what do these do exactly? Well, the rate speed knob is kind of obvious. It is the rate of the LFO. The color is kind of like a feedback control. And, this gets your kind of really jetty flange as you turn it up. Freeze and normal. Freeze just allows you to stop the LFO, which gives you a kind of comb filtering effect, which you can use to get all kinds of cool things. And then range is kind of like depth. Now, the way the manual says and the way I've read about Mistress pedals is that the range kind of, it's not like the range of the LFO you know, it's not like when it's down, it's so big and then the ends get bigger. It's kind of like the bottom of the sweep goes further. Like it doesn't go any higher in the sweep, but it goes lower. So we'll see how kind of that works, but basically it gives you a larger sweep. So, you know, more depth and more kind of, yeah, more sweep, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to put it all at 12 o'clock, just for the first sound, and then we'll go through each knob. Now these knobs are quite interactive and, you know, the kind of sounds you want, and you can get extreme and kind of subtle as well. But this is basically 12 o'clock sound. Before I forget, I'm playing my wireless Telecaster into both my Serotone and my Frenzel, and then I'm running this into Cubase with some cabinet simulation as kind of a new recording thing I'm working on. So they are sort of running in stereo, but this pedal isn't stereo, so it's kind of mono at these amps into speakers, but there is one amp on left and one amp on right. But you'll hear most of the sound in the middle. So let's go through all the controls. We've got color first, which is feedback. So I'm going to leave these other controls here and go with the color control. Now there is a center detent at the middle, so basically, you know, you're at the middle. As you hear, as it's going up, it is getting more aggressive. As you go past, I'll just turn that down. As you go past the 3/4 mark, it actually starts to self-oscillate. Which can get all kinds of cool effects. But it's kind of an issue of just getting to that point. It is very easy to accidentally put it in self-oscillation. So I'm going to take the color back off and we'll go through this range control, and then I'm going to put it back up and show you, you know, how the same sounds do with the color off and with the range. So let's go down all the way. I'll turn the color up and you can see how this range is being affected. I might play a bit more of a rhythmic thing with the rate down a bit so you can kind of hear that. range is kind of subtle, especially those speeds, but it does change the character of the sound. So I'm going to dial in just some different sounds. We can go through the rate. It does go from relatively slow. So that wasn't even a whole sweep. The best sounds tend to be from about here to here. My only thing is it probably has too much range that the usability range is a bit, but you know. So you go up in those ranges, that's where you've got your more chorusy flange sounds, aka the Police, David Gilmour, and you can get quite fast up here. That's where you can really hear how much difference the range makes. So I've kept it up here to this kind of almost Leslie sound with the range down. And then you've got kind of annoying speeds. Now I'm just going to mess around with a few different sounds and then we'll go into the sounds with dirt. So first I've set up this kind of slower rate, a bit more colour, medium range kind of sound, but still getting... Still getting enough chorusiness to it, not too flangey, but you know, nice. Next we'll go for a more chorusy sound with the colour off, and the range a bit up, and the rate fairly high up. So it's great for that kind of stuff too. Next we're going to look at dirt. Now there's two places you can put dirt with a flanger pedal and it dramatically affects how it sounds. So what I've got is my Plexion set up at the front so we can hear what it's like being driven by distortion. And then we'll plug into and set up some gain on the amps. and hear what it's like before. Now, I definitely prefer the before, but after you kind of get this really cool metallic sweepy thing. So I'm just going to mock up a slow rate kind of jet flange. So you can hear it really takes over and is extremely intense. Next I'll go for more of a Leslie kind of thing. And while we're using dirt, I'm going to look at the freeze function. So the freeze function just freezes the LFO. So I'm just going to freeze it here. And then you can use the range to change where it's freezing. And you can use this with dirt. So you can get weird metallic sounds that way. Now I'm going to use it in front of dirt and kind of show you my preferred way of using it. So now we've got a sound set up for the gain channel. So it's like a jetty flange thing again. Yeah, so... Okay, so now we are on the gain channel. Yeah, I've got a jet flange set up. So this is it without the flange. Flanger on. So that was the Aroma Twister Flanger. Is it the best flanger in the world? Well, it depends on what you want. Now, it does have that kind of deluxe Electric Mistress sound to it, which is not everyone's cup of tea, but is a pretty cool thing, and it gets that kind of chorusy thing. There's a little bit of a volume drop and a bit of a thinning of the tone, which I think happens in the original Electric Mistress as well, and in a lot of the copies, including the Moore Elect Lady, which is liked by a lot of people and recommended as a substitute if you really need that tone for, say, Gilmour or Andy Summers kind of sounds. Now, is it the best first flanger? Maybe not, because it kind of doesn't really get your head around flangers that easily. I reckon something like the Boss BF2 flanger, not the BF3, that is a terrible digital sounding thing, but the BF2, I've got a Japanese one on my board, and for a lot of things I prefer that to this sound. It is easier to control, has this kind of nice low mid thing it adds. It's, you know, a nice thick full sounding thing. Even though a lot of people say it is metallic sounding, I find it less thin than this. And a few other people make flangers that have those kind of controls that are probably based on the Boss in the cheap market. But like I said, this is $43. So if you kind of know you like flangers, maybe you've got a flanger, or maybe you tried all the other flangers, not the Mistress, and you didn't really like that kind of sound, give this a go. And, you know, for the chorusy sounds, for some of the jetty sounds, might not be the best for dirt. I think it can be a little bit harsh, but it's $43. You know, you could easily get a crappy flanger for $100 if you don't like it. Like I said, I hate the BF3. I think that's a terrible sounding flanger. I don't know how that's new. It's probably $150. It's not cheap. So definitely check it out. And I'll see you next time.